I think we're all being hunted.
On a late night train ride, 7 passengers watch on and do nothing as a woman is assaulted by knife point in the next cabin, her screams echoing through the train. 1 month later, the spirit of the woman haunts all 7. She wants her revenge on her attacker and the 7 people who did nothing to help her. Feeling guilty, one of the passengers takes it upon herself to help the spirit seek justice before she is her next victim. Viva Films strikes again with yet another horror film that looks at morals and values. We've had Live Scream, which looked at the streaming culture and the quest for fame at all costs, and now we have Pasahero, also known as Passengers, which deals with the phenomenon of people standing around doing nothing while something terrible is happening around them. And the movie lays on that message nice and thick with Bible passages, Desmond Tutu quotes, and snippets of horrible viral videos of kidnappings and assaults. The movie asks the question, are we a society of passengers who put our heads down and hope that nothing bad happens to us, but yet expect someone to come to our aid when the shoe is on the other foot? Moral story aside, the movie can be an uncomfortable film to watch at times thanks to the harrowing sound effects track. The echo of the woman being raped on the train haunts the memories of the passengers, culminating in a dreamlike flashback sequence where they relive the moments in various stages, and yet they still do nothing. Even more frustrating is how they refuse to help the people around them. Take our protagonist Angel as an example. Now, she's an artist and she refuses to help the little girl who's being abused by her parents until it's almost too late. This little girl lives in a unit next door to Angel. Another passenger, a well-off photography student, brags about taking the train so he can feel like a poor person, but then refuses to help a homeless guy who's just looking for something to eat. It's themes like this that are littered throughout the whole movie and are about as subtle as a sledgehammer, but they do get their point across. Now, disappointingly, and this could be just me, right? This joins the Viva Films library of films that feature stunning lead actresses who don't strip off, which is very much against the Viva Films or Viva Max MO. But it's becoming quite common now with titles like the funny but kind of flawed My Zombabe, the school horror film Marita, which features 2 of the women who are in this movie, and the terrible Kumanthong/Black Baby Magic. That one was shockingly bad. It's probably more frustrating when you realize that most of the women in the cast have been in those, softcore Viva Max films. But you're not watching this film for the boobs, that I can guarantee you. You were watching it for the horror. And the movie just succeeds as a horror movie. Now, just is a bit of an unfair word to use, I think, because essentially sometimes the movie tries too hard and then sometimes it doesn't try hard enough. And the example that I can give you here is of the demon spirit makeup. It's almost there, but it feels very generic and like every other Filipino possession movie that you've ever seen. But where I felt the movie excelled in was some of the death scenes, which are quite brutal. The opening ambush and murder scene of Angel's parents sets the tone for the film, or at least implants a reason for the audience to understand Angel's motivation for the film and why she's skeptical of helping strangers throughout it. The death scene of the little girl, that's just brutal. It's kind of reminiscent of the Taiwanese film Karma or something from the Final Destination films, and it continues on this Asian horror theme of killing kids, and quite frankly I like that. But even with all its flaws, its soft color grading that hooks the film back to the Viva Max softcore library style, the awful screeching that happens in the film, the hard-hammered social commentary, and a cast of very horribly unlikable characters, this movie did something that most others in the genre have failed to do lately, and that is keep my attention for long enough to stop me from scrolling on my phone. That's a win in my book, I think. Now, using my patent pending ghost rating, which stands for great horror and stupid trash, and yes, one day I will patent pen this thing, it gets 3 ghosts. And it gets 3 ghosts because it's a typically above average Asian horror film with a good looking cast, and a pretty important social message, I think. I do like the idea that the movie is focusing on the fact that people are just buried deep in their phones and their own lives, that they would rather film something happening than go out there and help them and potentially suffer the consequences of what that leads to. Anyway, have you seen Pasahero, and what did you think of it? I've got a feeling that most people probably won't like the film, and I might be one of the outliers that kind of did enjoy it. Anyway, I am the Arty Dans. Thank you so much for tuning into this channel. Leave a comment below with what you thought of it. Subscribe, like, all that other jazz. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time.